And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. I'm your host Dan, aka Smash O Mash, coming at you presenting facts and zero propaganda. So we've got kind of low levels of solar activity here at the moment. This is the last 24 hours from SDO. And let's give it a minute here as ads will have likely played. We don't want anybody to miss any of the content, so let's just give folks a minute here to realize that we've gone live. This YouTube Live exclusive is just that. You'll only be seeing it on YouTube. Thanks to all of our YouTube subscribers for tolerating the pathetic. There's your colorized magnetogram. And thanks for leaving a comment, Bruce. By the way, we'll put everybody's comments on the screen here. There you go. Once again, thanks for leaving comments. Please do so if you're viewing the video. So let's move on to briefly talk about volcanoes. Lots of volcanoes currently erupting. Sakurajima producing a 9,000-foot ash plume. Suwanosejima, 5,000-foot ash plume. Semaru, 14,000-foot ash plume as it explodes. Kerinci now showing up back on the list here with some explosive activity. Flight level 140, 14,000-foot ash plume. Popocatépetl in central Mexico, mild explosive activity, no indication on the flight level over Popocatépetl. Fuego in Guatemala, flight level 170. Nevado de Ruiz, flight level 235. It's a 23,500-foot volcanic ash plume. Please do not pole vault the caldera. Sangay and Ecuador is exploding, flight level 210, and Sabancaya exploding in Peru, 25,000-foot ash plume over Sabancaya. Seismically speaking, the Earth has been pretty calm here over the past 24 hours. We've got no major quakes. The largest quakes were only a 5.1 magnitude. We're going to scroll up the list here. I'll cite all the quakes over a 5 magnitude. So there is the Papua New Guinea quake at a 5.0 magnitude. Tonga had a 5.0 magnitude quake. That was at 21:41 last night, Universal Time. Papua New Guinea had a 5.1. Chile had a 5.1, followed only 7 minutes later by an Indonesian quake at the same magnitude, also a 5.1. So again, pretty calm here, not a lot of quakes, not a lot of big quakes. And let's get back to the realm of space. We'll come back to Earth for the meteorology segment at the end, folks. Don't worry. Again, low levels of solar activity here for the past 24 hours. There are your chats once again. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Here's some composite imagery that we've put up. 335 plus 171 angstroms. Some activity rising up here in the northeast. So let us know in the comments if you think those will be sunspots or not. I suspect they probably are. They've got some pretty significant magnetic fields. You can tell because there's a lot of plasma suspended out there. Radio flux now all the way down to 105 solar flux units. There is the 1-year graph of the radio flux. Yowzers, oh my God, the sun is shutting down. We're all going to die. We're going to die because of solar activity, whether it's high or low or medium. The sun is going to kill you, according to some idiotic propagandists who run cults on the internet. We'll get to some facts about the interstellar environment here a little bit later in the video. Current conditions are coronal hole high-speed wind stream in full effect. And NOAA was actually forecasting for some geomagnetic unrest conditions. We've seen all of that calm down since mid to late day yesterday. Some brief periods of geomagnetic unrest there. Besides that, things pretty chill in the earthly geospace. Here's the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. Our geospace magnetosphere movie depicting the Earth's magnetic moment from space. It's modeling nanopascals magnetohydrodynamic pressure, Again, it is the last 4 hours. Things are still pretty chill here, despite the high-speed coronal hole wind stream. Let's let that play through. And once again, this is going to be a new feature of our live streams. If there's any quote that you would like me to state, if you want me to say your comment aloud, send a super chat. I will say your comment aloud, no matter how ridiculous it is. If you want to take me out of context and hear me say something ridiculous, send a super chat. I'll hook you up. Next, the ground magnetic perturbations. This is Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. And it is the last 4 hours. Again, things geomagnetically calm here. So, not a lot of effects of that coronal hole high-speed stream. It all has to do with the magnetic field's vertical component, the BZ, and the strength of the field. So there's your planetary K index over the past 3 days. We're only at a KP 1.33, which is what we've reported for the last 4 days in a row. And thanks for leaving a comment. K. Ryan, yes. Must be a new viewer, as he does not yet have a wrench. So, here's a real-time solar wind for the past 24. And just as forecasted, we've seen a dip in the solar wind density. Solar wind density, and an uptick in the solar wind speed, which is what we forecasted yesterday because it's a coronal hole high-speed stream. So there you go. Current conditions are about 8 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density and about 526 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed. Continuing on to some magnetic data. So here is the GOES magnetometer situation for the past 3 days. Don't be surprised to see some rapid shifts there in the GOES magnetometer, as coronal hole wind streams have a tendency to do that. Plasma, it orients to magnetic fields and often blocks the measurement of the magnetic fields. Next, looking at Earth's heliospheric current sheet environment. The plasma that the sun puts out is polar in nature, and Earth is just moving into a North Pole current sheet as we speak. Keep in mind that data is 1 hour and 36 old. I would say Earth is solidly in a North Pole current sheet at the moment. That's the top view ecliptic plane field plot, and we still do have some north solar polar magnetism hanging out around the north heliographic pole. Next, moving to the line of sight plot. And while we're here, let's bring your chats back up since we've got a number of chats. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and congratulations on realizing that the channel exists. I know there's plenty of propaganda and nonsense on YouTube. We apologize to anybody who prefers that we would put out propaganda and nonsense. And let's move on to coronal holes. So you can see there are some South Pole-oriented coronal holes here just moving past the Earth-facing zone. Those southern coronal holes are the ones that are providing the high-speed coronal hole wind stream at the moment. We've got some North Pole coronal holes rotating in here on the east. Let's take a look at those from SDO in 211 angstroms. So these are South Pole. These are North Pole. And the solar polar field reversal process is taking its good old time. By the way, congratulations to our latest moderators. A Woodland Adventure and K. Ryan. Yes. So we're going to move to sunspots next. Let's do it. First, thanks to everybody who's tolerated the pathetic censorship on the channel. Yes, YouTube. It is a corporatist organization who misleads investors, and it can't get out of its own way. So I don't know what to say about that other than what I've just stated. You know, big tech You can't destroy the internet, but the internet can destroy you. So you may want to just, I don't know, fix your software, realize censorship is dead along with centralization, and do your own job, and so on. Once again, thanks to our YouTube subscribers. I would say if you're viewing any place else besides YouTube, make sure you tune into YouTube, but this video is a YouTube exclusive. Check out our other playlists if you haven't so far. Some product reviews are coming. Why? Because, well, while we are the channel who shows the most detailed imagery of the sun as well as the most comprehensive space weather in the world, we also indeed have sponsors. Now, if you don't get yourself a Twitter account, as we seem to be stagnating around 330 followers on Twitter, we get to like 340, and then it mysteriously drops back down. So help fight the pathetic censorship on Twitter, perhaps, by creating an account if you don't have one. And if you thought Elon Musk was going to fix the disgusting censorship on Twitter, think again. Elon Musk is attempting to continue to use Twitter to promote his pathetic and ridiculous investment scams. So that's my stance on that. And if you disagree, by all means, let us know in the comments. Twitter.com/Smashomash. Support the channel via clicks from the homepage. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Smashomash.com is the homepage. You might see some new links there. If you haven't seen those before, well, why not click them and find out what they're all about? Once again, thanks to everybody who's supported the channel the past pushing 6 years of just putting up the most detailed space weather, the most chock full of facts space weather you'll find any place in the known universe. Smashomash.com, it's the homepage. And the newest link there, you might recognize it, Hemp Lucid. The second newest link is SureMed. Right above it, right there's a SureMed link. It's not insurance, it's an association membership, so check that out if you haven't. Links below the video as well as on the homepage at smashomash.com. If you want to support the channel via subscription services, become a member of the Smash Team. Smashomash.com/Smash Team. When we go live on Twitch, you will see it right there on the homepage at smashomash.com/Smash Team. Thanks to our gold and silver subscribers for being executive producers of the content. And let's put your chats back up on the screen once again. Thanks again, everybody, for leaving comments. Once again, congratulations to our latest wrench wielders. Please do not attempt to brain anybody with your wrench. It will not work. It basically does not give you any power over anything. It's just showing us that you've left comments before on the channel. Another link you'll find both on the Smash Team page and on the homepage at smashomash.com is a link to Hemp Lucid. If you already buy their products, why not do it through our link? That'll help both us and Hemp Lucid out, as well as your own health, perhaps. We'll be doing a product review on some of the products later today. So look for that coming out soon on the YouTube channel. Check out the Redbubble shop as well. You will find links below the video to that, as well as on the homepage at Smasho Merch. And today's featured product is featured in the thumbnail. I'm currently wearing it. It's a re-release. One of the first merch items that we ever created. These are listed in order of best selling. And the latest item that we're featuring today is Smasher Price, My First Pandemic. So yes, I am currently wearing it. There you go. As it depicts the entire planet being masked. How's that been working out? Effective? Let us know in the comments what you think. Smasher Price, My First Pandemic. Yes. Masks. How effective were they during the Black Plague, the Justinian Plague, the H1N3, H1N1, and other Asian viruses of the early 2000s? How effective were they during the, quote, Spanish flu, end quote? Let us know in the comments what you think. Masks. Are they effective? I've definitely not stated in the video that they're ineffective, but I've asked you, what do you think? Are they effective? Has the response been a pathetic and infantile response? A joke, where bureaucracies make terrible decisions and continue to illustrate the fact that they are the problem and are unable to get out of their own way. So act local and think global. Don't forget to make Earth not suck again by visiting our links. Thanks to everybody who has. Let's get to sunspots. No new sunspots since yesterday, as far as I can tell. There might be some... there might be some new sunspots, actually, right over here. We may have a new named group. I think we are going to have a named group. It'll be 3130, I believe. We'll see what happens. And let's take a look at sunspots here. The SDO continuum. Yeah, there might be some more named groups. So I see some motion over here. Okay, those have evaporated, but this is a 24-hour video, by the way. Here's some new sunspots, and here. So those don't have names yet, I don't think. Anyway, activity is pretty low. Here's a zoom out. We'll also show the SDO magnetogram for the past 24 hours. And it's time to continue on to look at solar flaring, which has been low for the past 24 hours. No relativistic particles showing up. A tiny spike there just before midnight, barely even showing up as something to be relevant. So there's the X-ray flux here. It's been kind of dropping off a cliff for the past few days. And here's the 94 angstroms wavelength from SDO. That's one of the best wavelengths to view solar flares. And Bruce says, be insane, everyone. I would say, it's okay to think crazy thoughts, just not to do crazy deeds. You may have no patience, but all you've got to do is behave like you have patience, and that will be sufficient. And let's continue on here. There's plenty more information to cover. So here's a star chart, and we're going to take a look at the interstellar environment right after this. So this is what's going on overhead at Lehigh Valley. I thought I drew in the galactic plane. Oh, there it is. It is there. So you can see Mars there near the galactic plane line. Venus very close to the sun right now. Not really visible because the sun is drowning it out. Mercury still rising ahead of the sun there. The moon, Mercury, and Venus and the sun all in Virgo. Oh my God, that means something. I have no idea what it means, and I don't really care. So let's take a look at the interstellar environment. So we're going to head to Plasmascape right now. Plasmascape. You can look at this imagery yourself at plasmascape.com. And what we're looking at here is the interstellar environment. So we're on number 1 right here. And the reason we're showing this view from this perspective is because the sun, with respect to other stars in this part of the galaxy, is moving in this direction toward what we call the solar apex. However, the interstellar environment is all moving toward Cygnus. So all of the stars are moving in that direction, and with respect to the local stars, the sun is moving in that direction, toward Hercules. Now, if we zoom out to a larger and larger scale, we will eventually get to the point where we can see the local interstellar chimney, an hourglass-shaped structure, which is the local environment, which contains all the local stars. When you zoom out here, zoom way, way out, there's the interstellar chimney. So now if we place this once again in a orientation where the solar apex is off to the right, there you go. That is the interstellar environment. So you can see there's this huge filamentary structure shaped like an hourglass in which the sun and all the local stars lie. The sun is moving kind of off in that direction toward Cygnus, toward the star Deneb actually, and away from the constellation Taurus. That is just the way that the local environment appears to be shaped. That's what's going on. And of course, we're tens of thousands of light years away from the galactic core. And the galactic core not really having any direct effect on local stars, if you're wondering. So that's just a little side note there about the interstellar environment. Let's do a solar system forecast here, zooming way back in. In fact, let's zoom back in. There you go. And here's your solar system forecast. So this here is where things are now. Let's advance it 1 week. We've got a crescent waning moon. New moon coming in only a couple days. Shout out to all my reverse werewolves. And there's where things will be. In a week, we will have a crescent waxing moon. And let's blast through some more data here, as there's plenty more to cover. Some coronagraphs here, seeing some CMEs, and a sun-diving comet. Did it make it out the other side? I don't think it did. I think it completely evaporated. So you can see right in here, whoops, kind of gone, as we sort of forecasted. And let's see if any of those CMEs are earthly directed. My first suggestion is probably not. So here from Stereo A, for you new viewers out there, thanks for tuning in. Earth would be off in this direction from Stereo A. It would be behind you from the perspective of the Soho-Lascaux C3. Once again, Stereo A located here at Lagrangian point 5. Soho-Lascaux C3 located here at Lagrangian point 1. And we've paused this here because, well, it looks like that ejecta is off to the west. So it may look like some ejecta might be headed toward Earth there, but I don't think so. I think those are all CMEs that will miss Earth. And we'll briefly let that play through. We'll show a zoomed out view, and we'll put your chats back on the screen here in a bit. Again, if you'd like to be quoted on the video, just send a super chat or a super sticker. Is that a thing? Yeah. You'll be quoted. And here's the last 24 hours. You'll see some missing data there. That's why the SDO imagery in the center, the ionized helium 304 angstroms wavelength, is still moving while the rest of it is not moving. Sometimes there are data issues with HelioViewer, and let's move on and not dwell on it. To look at filaments. So here's the filamentary situation. We've got some minor filaments here, mainly in the east. So the southeast and northeast, there are some filaments there. Number of filaments here in the past week or so has dropped drastically. So a drop in sunspots, a drop in filaments, coronal hole high-speed stream, coronal holes rotating in. Here's the last about 2.5 hours from the GOES 16 SUVI. It's what we typically stream all day long on the Twitch channel, twitch.com/smashamash. If you've never seen it, check it out, and let's bring up your real-time chats while we've got some real-time imagery here. Once again, thanks everybody for leaving comments, for tolerating the pathetic censorship on the YouTube platform. There's definitely a lot of crap and nonsense on the internet, both about space weather, about solar activity, and so on. It is a divine comedy of non-divine channels. So over here at the Smash News Network, least busted name of news, by the way, I'm a fanatic of one thing, the truth. Everything else, I'm not a fan of you. I'm not a fan of you. I'm not a fan of your favorite sports team. I'm not even a fan of me. I'm a fan of facts. And yeah, that's just the way it is. Remember, folks, being a fan is an indication that you're fanatical. And I'm only for anything else is hardly relevant. So here's 335 angstroms for the past 24 hours. And Mama Sarita asks if the comet had any effect on the sun's activity. Not really. The sun had some effect on the comet's activity for sure. And we've got a super chat. A request for a direct quote. So here it is. Jesus Christ loves you. He came to save you, not condemn you. Continuing on to our bonus feature segment, we've got the Space Weather Community, this Satellites Community Dashboard here. No charging hazards of the surface or internal charging variety. Goes electron flux, kind of cratered here, as we typically see during coronal hole high-speed wind streams. And relativistic particles here showing up about where we forecasted them yesterday. So if you remember yesterday's video, if you saw yesterday's video, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. But yesterday's video, we forecasted the electron flux to be right about there where it is, because of the forecast for a coronal hole high-speed stream. So I don't know what to tell you. Dear Elon Musk, if you're not watching the channel, you ought to be. What are you doing? Stop losing Starlink satellites by not watching the channel and launching them into geomagnetic storm conditions. Here's the one-year chart of the electron flux. Next we'll look at the ionosphere, the F-layer. It's right here at about 300 kilometers of altitude. It is the bridge between Earth and space. And we've got, by the way, massive anomalies of the low-frequency variety in the ionosphere. You'll see them on the anomalygram. If you're not noticing them on the ionogram, they will become really obvious on the anomalygram. So check it out. Look at all the red on the map there. Massive low-frequency anomalies at both poles and around the equator. So that is the anomaly in megahertz from the 30-day median. Huge low-frequency ionosphere anomalies all around the world right now as this coronal hole wind stream progresses. There's the latest image, 13:15 Universal Time, coming at you a little later today than we normally do. There you go, that's 13:15. Huge low-frequency anomalies at the moment over the Indian Ocean, moving into Africa. Continuing on to our total electron content forecast. That is the free electrons in between your GPS satellite and your handset. And they're actually looking fairly organized here, despite the coronal hole high-speed stream. Some significant anomalies continuing over North America, but not as much as they were the past couple of days. It's almost time to get to meteorology. Again, the total electron content is showing the electrons between your GPS satellite and your handset. That GPS satellite located on the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt. Here's your latest intensitygram and latest colorized magnetogram. So there is a new sunspot that should be named right here. That sunspot, that is a Beta Gamma class sunspot group. Might even be Beta Gamma Delta class already. It does need a name. That'll be 1330, I think. 3130, rather. Sunspot 3130. Pretty weak solar activity here in the past few days. Continuing on, we're going to bring up one more series of images from SDO. This is yesterday plus today. And it's time to transition to Earth weather. And we'll put your chats back up on the screen one more time. Thanks for that super chat, Mama Sarita. Anybody else who would like to quote me, feel free to drop a super chat. I will read your comment verbatim. So that is yesterday plus today in 211, 304, and 171 angstroms from SDO, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Diamond claims a lot of things. Let me put it this way. There's a lot of hot air coming out of Colorado. Next thing we're looking at is the visible satellite. Yes, the visible satellite for once. It's part of the NASA GOES Interactive Weather Satellite Suite. It's pretty sweet. And look at that oblate spheroid. Oh my God. The Earth might be shaped like a sphere, not a flat plane. Who would have ever guessed? I mean, people thousands of years ago guessed. Even Ptolemy believed the Earth was spherical. He just believed that the sun orbited the Earth, not vice versa. Next, we're looking at pressure here, and we've got low pressure dominating the central part of the U.S. at the moment. And it's bringing in some snow. You can see the jet stream dipping down here with these wind currents. Cold air blasting in, and snow showing up in October. Yes. So let's switch to the regular old wind. And there's a wind convergence happening there in the center of the country. Let's take a look at the eastern portion of the world first. There's the eastern world. Here are the jet streams. That's the surface winds. These are the jet streams. Jet streams of the west are looking like this. Surface winds of the west are looking like that. Surface winds of the central world are looking like that. And jet streams are looking like that. We've got another super chat here. All right. I have to read another chat aloud here as Moneybags Mama Sarita has dropped another super chat. Let's bring up the weather.gov map. And, all right. If you look for him, you will find him, for he loves you dearly. Christ Jesus, he is our hope. He has good things for you, wonderful things. Thank you, Dan, for reading this. You're quite welcome. Thanks for dropping the super chats. So here's our weather.gov map, and we can see lots of winter storm warnings and all sorts of chilly, Christmassy type things happening there in the western portion of the country, winter weather advisories, and so forth. If your county's lit, head to weather.gov and click your county. Let's bring up some forecasts. There's your GFS 72-hour positive snow depth change forecast. Some huge snows coming there. It looks like the heaviest snow will be in Montana. Expecting like 20 inches in some concentrated portions there of Montana. Some heavy snow coming to Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, New Mexico, even some snows in Texas, Nevada, Arizona, California, Washington, Oregon, North Dakota, South Dakota. quite a lot of snow here about to show up. That's a 72-hour GFS positive snow depth change forecast. Here's your total accumulated precipitation forecast, as there will be some heavy rains associated with that as well. So there you go. Precipitation totals shown here in inches. And continuing on to our Euro forecast. So that was the GFS forecast. Here's the Euro forecast, and there's already plenty of snow out there, covering large portions of Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, and California. Also Arizona and New Mexico. Let's advance this 3 days. And there's the European forecast for snow. It looks like the heaviest will be in Wyoming, where there'll be like 20 inches of snow. Oh my God, it must be so hot out there that it's cold, folks. It's so hot that it's cold. Next, our NASA GOES lightning mapper, and we are seeing some lightning indeed around the Four Corners. Places like Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. And a little bit of lightning there around the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Let's see if we have any terrestrial strikes. We show it on the regs. Lightning strikes our comments twice. We'll scroll through one more time for you here as we are approaching the end of the video. If you've got other comments you want to leave, make sure you drop them sometime soon, because we are approaching the end of the video. We did have a terrestrial strike there. Let's go back. Right near St. Louis. One lightning strike there. Just east of St. Louis there, around Edwardsville. You may have heard a thunder strike. If you want to forecast thunder and pretend that you're Thor or Zeus or something, head to lightningmaps.org. Next, move into the U.S. Doppler radar map to close things out with some current data of what's going on over AUSA, the allegedly United States of America, now Banana Republic, former nation. Here's what's going on. We'll focus on the lower 48. The lower 48 states of AUSA, the allegedly United States of America. Here is the shortwave radiation map showing clouds and fog. It's still dark over the western portion of the country, so we're using this. And here's the water vapor map, and you can see, well, you can't see anything because it's not showing you anything, because we've got to resubmit the data. So let's do all of that and then bring it back. So there's what's going on in terms of water vapor. That should clear things up. Some moisture here rolling up the East Coast into the mid-Atlantic states. And you can see that moisture there over Montana, moving up towards central Canada. If your Doppler radar is not showing you the full picture, if it's not providing enough forecasting information for you, make sure you use the water vapor map. It'll clear things up. This is your recap from the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news. U.S. Doppler radar. Clouds and fog. And water vapor. Heavy rains striking central Mexico. Anyway, that's about time to close things out. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather. It's only the most comprehensive in the world and the most detailed solar imagery you'll find in the known universe. In the meantime, I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And may that solar wind be at your back.